Welcome, beautiful Sigma ladies. The scariest kind of woman isn't the loudest in the room, it's the one everyone can feel but no one can predict. In a world obsessed with visibility, dominance, and loud leadership, there exists a breed of women so enigmatic, even alpha females keep their distance. They're not competing, they're observing, they're not leading, they're dismantling the very need for leaders. They're Sigma females. And while alpha women command attention, Sigma women disrupt the atmosphere with their mere presence, unapologetically, silently, and with terrifying precision. Here's the kicker. According to modern social hierarchy psychology, less than 1% of women exhibit true Sigma traits, and most people wouldn't recognize one until they've already been outmaneuvered. These women don't break rules. They erase the blueprint, and today we're exposing 20 terrifying things Sigma females do that no alpha woman dares to even consider. Not because she can't, but because doing so would shatter the very image she's built her power on. Fair warning. If you think this is just another strong woman list, you're not ready. Grab your tea, or better yet, something stronger. Because this list, it's not for the faint of ego. Number 1. They live as if they're already legends. They live as if they're already legends. Not someday, not when they make it, not when the world finally claps for them. Sigma females walk through life with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth isn't tied to external applause. They move like someone whose story is already written in stone, not scribbled in pencil, waiting to be approved. They don't chase legacy. They embody it. You'll notice it in the way they speak. Measured, intentional, almost like they're planting words for the future to discover. The way they carry themselves doesn't beg to be seen. It dares you to look closer. While others are rehearsing the best version of themselves to present to the world, she's already operating from her final draft. This is exactly what makes people uneasy around her. She doesn't act like she needs to prove anything. Not because she's arrogant, but because she's already decided who she is, and that decision doesn't require permission or validation. There's something unsettling about someone who walks into a room and acts like history is watching. She doesn't just move through time, she moves like she's above it. People call her intimidating, but it's not because she tries to be, it's because her presence exposes everything temporary in others. While they're busy curating image, climbing ladders, and managing perceptions, she's simply being, but doing so with the weight of someone who knows they were never meant to be ordinary. She's not rushing to prove, explain, or justify. She speaks when it matters. She acts when it counts. She disappears when things get shallow. And when she shows up again, it's never for attention. It's for impact. The terrifying part? You never quite know what she's planning, but something about her makes you feel like she's 5 moves ahead and not sweating a single one. That's what living like a legend looks like. Not waiting for the world to call you one. Moving like you already are. Number 2. They withhold their genius. Sigma females don't walk around broadcasting how smart they are. They don't need to. While others drop quotes to sound deep or name-drop credentials to feel important, she sits back and watches, quietly collecting data, patterns, weaknesses. She doesn't speak to impress. She speaks to dismantle. And when she does finally let her intelligence show, it's never loud. It's surgical. People often mistake her silence for indifference or worse, ignorance. That's their first mistake. Because what they don't realize is that while everyone else is busy trying to prove they're the smartest person in the room, she's already figured out who's lying, who's bluffing, and who's masking insecurity with noise. She reads people like algorithms, and she stores it all away until it's useful. What terrifies people is how her intelligence doesn't seek approval. She doesn't correct you to feel superior. She doesn't compete to dominate. She waits, and when the timing is right, when something truly matters, she drops a single insight that flips the entire dynamic. In that moment, the room goes quiet. That's the difference. Alpha women show their strength up front. Sigma females let you think they're out of the game, and then they make one move that shifts the entire board. It's not because she's trying to be mysterious, it's because she values strategy over performance. Her mind is a locked vault, and if you get access to it, it's because she chose to give it, not because you earned it. She's not interested in praise, validation, or being labeled a genius. In fact, the moment you start calling her that, she'll probably retreat. Why? Because she's not interested in being seen as smart. She's interested in using her intelligence where it actually matters. To build, to protect, to expose, and when needed, to destroy illusions people are too comfortable living in. And that's what truly terrifies people. Not that she's brilliant, but that she's brilliant on her own terms. Number 3. They are loyal to principles, not people. Sigma females don't build their loyalty around people. They build it around principles. They aren't swayed by emotional ties, years of history, or group allegiance. What guides them is an internal compass that points to truth, growth, and authenticity. If you align with that, great, you're in. But the moment you go against it, no matter who you are, she'll cut ties like it's just another Tuesday. This is what makes her terrifying to many. People are used to loyalty being transactional, based on how long you've known someone, how close you are, or what you've done for them. But with a Sigma female, none of that guarantees safety. Your relationship with her only continues as long as it aligns with her values. The second it doesn't, you're out, quietly, cleanly, and permanently. She doesn't do messy exits. She doesn't explode, guilt trip, or seek revenge. She simply detaches. There's no drama, no explanation. It's as if you suddenly stopped existing in her world. That's the scariest part. She can love you and still leave you if staying means betraying herself. While alpha women often stay loyal to their group, their crew, their network, sometimes even to a fault, Sigma females refuse to sacrifice their integrity just to keep the peace. She'll walk away from a friendship of 10 years, a business partnership, or even family, if it demands she shrink, compromise her beliefs, or tolerate dishonesty. She doesn't need a tribe to feel strong. She doesn't need loyalty from others to validate her own. Her loyalty is to her path, her values, her inner alignment. And when you cross that boundary, there are no second chances. Not because she's heartless, but because she refuses to betray the one person she'll never abandon, herself. That kind of loyalty to principles over people isn't just rare, it's revolutionary, and for many, deeply unsettling. Number 4. They vanish to upgrade, then return unrecognizable. When a Sigma female disappears, it's not a cry for help or a dramatic exit. It's a calculated decision. She's not ghosting people out of spite or playing some emotional game. She's vanishing to upgrade, to strip down, rebuild, and return as someone unrecognizably evolved. She doesn't need the world to witness her transformation in real time. She needs space to become what the world isn't ready for. While others go on retreats, post about their healing journey, or seek comfort in validation, she cuts the noise, completely. No updates, no hints, no explanations. She doesn't want to be followed. She wants to be forgotten. Because becoming unrecognizable requires shedding who she used to be in front of people who only knew how to keep her small. And when she returns, she doesn't ask to be reintroduced. Her presence announces it. She's sharper, colder, wiser, the same face maybe, but a completely different operating system. Conversations that used to hold her attention now bore her. Rooms she once tried to fit into now feel microscopic. The people she left behind barely know how to speak to her anymore, and honestly, that's the point, the terrifying part. She doesn't care to explain the glow-up. She doesn't want applause for the growth. She's not returning to prove anything. She's just done hiding the version of herself that needed isolation to be born. And if you can't recognize her now, that's not her problem. It's proof she outgrew the version of herself you were comfortable with. Alpha women, for all their dominance, rarely go silent. They maintain presence, influence, visibility. They lead loudly. But Sigma females, they lead in absence. Their silence isn't a void. It's a storm brewing in the shadows. And when they step back into the light, you won't just notice the change. You'll feel it in your bones. Because when a Sigma woman returns from her disappearance, she's not coming back for closure. She's coming back in command. Number 5. They speak in truth bombs that atomize egos. Sigma females don't argue, they don't debate, they don't raise their voices. When they speak, it's with a level of precision that slices straight through ego, illusion, and defense mechanisms, like a surgeon with a scalpel. They drop truths that are so raw, so unfiltered, you don't feel offended. You feel exposed. They won't package their message to protect your feelings. They won't soften the blow just because you're not ready. They believe truth is medicine, and sometimes it needs to burn on the way in. When they speak, it's not emotional. It's clinical. It's not about winning or proving a point. It's about detonating the lie you're living and walking away before the dust even settles. The scariest part? They don't speak often. Sigma females observe more than they talk. But when they finally open their mouths, everyone listens, because what's coming isn't fluff. It's not small talk. It's a truth bomb with your name on it. They will tell you that your ambition is rooted in insecurity, that your confidence is just performance, that your relationship is dying and you're pretending it's love. And they won't say it to hurt you. They'll say it because they've seen behind the curtain and they don't believe in keeping silent for your comfort. Alpha women know how to hit where it stings, but they usually calculate the cost, how it will affect their image, their alliances, their influence. Sigma females don't care. They say what needs to be said, and they let the truth do what it's meant to do, shake you awake or shatter your delusion. And after they've dropped that truth, they don't linger, they don't console, they don't care whether you liked it. They just turn and leave with the kind of terrifying calm that says, I didn't say it to argue. I said it because it was true. Number 6. They don't lead, they dismantle the need to be led. Sigma females don't walk into a room trying to take charge, and yet somehow everything begins to shift around them. Not because they command attention, but because their presence quietly disrupts the entire idea of leadership itself. While others scramble to lead, influence, or dominate, the Sigma female doesn't try to lead anyone. She makes people realize they can lead themselves. She doesn't rally followers. She doesn't build empires around her name. She doesn't need titles, applause, or people looking to her for direction. In fact, if you try to put her on a pedestal, she'll step down, not out of humility, but because she rejects the very structure that requires someone to be above others to function. Alpha women often aim for the top. They want the position, the crown, the title. They thrive on leading the pack. Sigma females, they make the pack irrelevant. They dissolve hierarchies just by refusing to play into them. You don't follow her because she asks you to. You follow her because her self-possession makes you question why you ever needed permission to stand in your own power. What makes this terrifying is that it exposes the dependency baked into most leadership models. People realize they were looking for direction not because they needed it, but because it was easier than taking full ownership of their choices. And here comes this woman, quiet, composed, unbothered, who refuses to take control and yet makes you feel like you need to level up just by being in her orbit. She doesn't want the throne. She wants everyone to stop thinking they need a throne in the first place. Her rebellion isn't loud, it's internal. She leads by being complete within herself, and that forces others to look at where they're still incomplete. She won't lead you. She'll awaken you, and that's way more dangerous. Number 7. They burn bridges publicly and smile while doing it. Sigma females don't do quiet exits when something violates their integrity. They don't sneak away or leave the door half open just in case. When they're done, loudly, clearly, and without blinking. And what terrifies people the most is how unapologetic they are about it. They'll call out the hypocrisy, expose the manipulation, and sever the tie, not behind closed doors, but right where everyone can see it. Not to make a scene, but to make a statement. This connection no longer aligns with who I am, and I'm not afraid to torch it in broad daylight. Most people fear burning bridges because they still care about being liked, remembered, or maybe invited back one day. Sigma females have none of that fear. They'd rather walk alone on solid ground than tiptoe across a rotting bridge with smiling enemies on the other side. And when they walk away, they make sure it's permanent. There's no maybe we can talk later, no let's agree to disagree, no let's stay friends for appearances. It's scorched earth, and they're not bitter, they're not angry, they're at peace with it. That's what makes people nervous. It's not the burn, it's the calm. That signature Sigma smirk, that unbothered aura while everything behind her crumbles, that silent message. This chapter needed fire, and I brought the match. Alpha women may play politics, strategically maintain connections even when they're toxic just to keep power intact. Sigma females couldn't care less about that kind of power. If a relationship drains her peace, violates her values, or smells like betrayal, she'll drop it and never look back. The scariest part? She won't lose sleep over it. In fact, she might sleep better. Because for Sigma females, burning bridges isn't about revenge, it's about clarity. And sometimes, the only way to see who's who is by watching who runs when the fire starts. Number 8. They weaponize silence like a sniper uses distance. When a Sigma female goes silent, it's not because she doesn't know what to say, it's because she already knows too much. Her silence isn't submission, it's a message, a strategy, a weapon. While others raise their voice to prove a point, she withdraws into stillness and lets the weight of that silence do all the talking. Alpha women confront, argue, dominate the space. They engage because confrontation gives them control. But Sigma females don't need the last word. They make their absence louder than any argument. And what's terrifying about that is how deeply it unsettles people. When she stops responding, when the calls stop, when the energy shifts, you start to feel it in your chest. It's not ghosting, it's precision, it's control. Like a sniper watching from a distance, she's still fully aware. But you'll never know if or when she'll re-engage. That psychological edge puts people on high alert. They replay the last conversation, second-guess their every word, spiral into overthinking, all because she chose stillness over drama. That's how calculated her silence is. It creates a vacuum, and in that vacuum your insecurities echo louder. People start to reveal themselves when there's nothing to push against. They text more, they over-explain, they beg for clarity. Meanwhile, she's just observing the unraveling. Her silence is not avoidance. It's dominance without noise. It says, I'm not wasting energy explaining what you already know. I've withdrawn because I've already decided. I'm watching to see who you become when I stop feeding you attention. And once she's gone quiet like that, it's rarely temporary. Because for a Sigma female, silence isn't a timeout. It's usually the beginning of your phase-out. No explosion, no warning. Just a silence so surgical it cuts deeper than words ever could. Number 9. They forgive without reconnecting, permanently. Sigma females don't carry grudges, not because they're soft, but because they see no use in emotional clutter. When you hurt them, betray them, or violate something sacred, they'll process it internally, release the resentment, and let it go. But here's the twist. They'll forgive you without ever letting you back in. No conversation, no tearful closure, no dramatic goodbye. Just silence, detachment, and an emotional door that will never open again. They don't forgive to restore relationships. They forgive to release themselves. They understand that anger is heavy and hatred is a form of attachment. So they drop the weight, but they don't extend an invitation. You'll never know when it happened. One day you'll look up and realize she's gone, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and the scariest part, she's at peace with it. Most people use forgiveness as a pathway back into connection. They want to hug it out, talk it through, rebuild. But Sigma females don't believe every chapter needs a sequel. Some people are meant to be released quietly and permanently, not out of spite but out of clarity. When someone reveals their true character, a Sigma woman doesn't argue with it. She accepts it and moves on without leaving breadcrumbs. This is what shakes people, the lack of reaction, the clean break. No second chances, no dramatic speech, just a deep, cold stillness, where once there was warmth. Not because she doesn't feel, but because she feels deeply and chooses not to bleed for people who've shown they can't handle her heart. You might think she's over it because she's distant. You're right, she is. But make no mistake, her forgiveness doesn't mean access. It means freedom, for her, not for you. Because when a Sigma female forgives you and still chooses to disappear, that's not weakness, that's emotional mastery. And to those who once mattered, that quiet goodbye is louder than any fight ever could be. Number 10. They don't expose enemies, they erase them. Sigma females don't waste energy on revenge. They don't plot, they don't confront, and they don't try to make an example out of anyone. If you betray them, lie to them, or cross a line that can't be uncrossed, you're not going to get a dramatic showdown, you're going to get erased. Cleanly, silently, and with terrifying precision. No warnings, no threats, no social media fallout, just gone. To the Sigma female, even acknowledging her enemies gives them power. So instead of fighting you, she starves you of relevance. She removes your presence from her world as if it never existed. Not blocked, not dragged, just deleted. Your name stops coming up. Your existence fades from her story. You'll scroll past her updates and realize she's living, evolving, thriving, and it's like you never even happened. This isn't coldness. This is control. She doesn't react because reacting means you still hold space in her mind. And that's the one thing she guards more fiercely than anything else. Her peace. The moment you become a threat to it, you're gone. Not as punishment, but as protection. Alpha women often need to confront, to make noise, to show strength in the fallout. They rally support, call out betrayal, and make sure everyone knows what went down. But Sigma females, they understand the most brutal form of retaliation is total emotional disappearance. You don't even get to be the villain in her story, because you're no longer part of it at all. What makes this terrifying is the finality. There's no backdoor, no chance to fix it, no conversation that might bring you back in. You'll feel the absence in ways attention never could. You'll realize too late that you weren't silenced, you were erased. And the silence that follows? It speaks volumes. It tells you exactly what she thinks of betrayal, not worth the battle, just the delete key. Number 11. They train themselves to be unaddicted to anyone. Sigma females don't rely on anyone emotionally, not because they're cold, but because they've trained themselves not to. They've studied how attachments form, watched how people become dependent on others for validation, comfort, or identity, and made a deliberate decision to be the opposite. She is her own source, and she's built that reality from the ground up. While alpha women often thrive through connection, networks, alliances, strategic bonds, a Sigma female views every relationship through a different lens. She sees people as valuable, not vital. She can love deeply, be fully present, and even form intense connections, but never at the cost of her autonomy. She gives herself fully, but never hands over her emotional sovereignty. What unsettles people most is how unaffected she is when things fall apart. While others spiral, replay the past, or seek closure, she moves on with unnerving calm. It's not that she doesn't care, it's that she doesn't cling. She felt everything when it was real, but the moment it no longer serves her growth or integrity, she lets go without hesitation. Behind the scenes, Sigma females build quiet exit strategies, not because they expect people to fail, but because they've seen how fragile most relationships are when tested. They prepare themselves emotionally to walk away from anyone, at any time, if the situation demands it. It's not paranoia, it's self-respect, it's freedom. If you betray her or abandon her, don't expect a meltdown. Don't expect rage or begging. Expect distance, indifference, silence, because she already trained for this. She rehearsed the goodbye long before it became necessary, and by the time you leave, she's already gone. That's the chilling truth. You were never holding her. She was choosing to stay. And once that choice expires, so do you in her life. This level of detachment isn't cruelty, it's discipline, and it terrifies anyone who thought they were irreplaceable. Number 12. They study people, then leave without warning. Sigma females are quiet observers, always watching, always absorbing. While others are busy performing, oversharing, or trying to impress, she's studying everything beneath the surface. Body language, tone shifts, patterns, contradictions. She doesn't react immediately. She files the information away, building a silent case. And by the time you realize something's off, she's already made her decision. The terrifying part? You won't see it coming. There won't be a big fight or a drawn-out discussion. She won't ask you to explain yourself or tell you you've disappointed her. Why? Because if she has to ask for honesty, respect, or decency, you're already disqualified. Sigma females don't do warnings. They don't do second chances with people who show selfishness, manipulation, or dishonesty. Instead, they do exits, clean, precise, and permanent. One day, you'll be talking to her, thinking everything's fine. The next, she's gone, emotionally, mentally, physically. No fallout, just absence. And you won't get an explanation, because she doesn't owe you one. She saw the red flags. She gave you space to be authentic. You weren't, so she left. That's the entire story. No need for closure, no need for goodbyes. You were a case study. She collected what she needed, then moved on. Alpha women often adapt. They shift the energy in a room, influence behavior, and assert control. Sigma females, they adapt by detaching. They let people show who they are without interference, because that's how she gets the clearest read. And once she sees the truth, she never unsees it. What people find unnerving is the silence that follows her exit. No shade, no gossip, just a void where she used to be, and that void speaks louder than any confrontation ever could. It says, I saw you, I understood you, and I chose something better. No drama, no noise, just gone. And once a Sigma female walks away like that, you don't get a second appearance in her story. In a world that rewards loud dominance and performative power, Sigma females are the quiet revolution. They don't seek control. They expose how fragile the idea of control really is. They don't chase approval. They make approval irrelevant. And while alpha women often shine in the spotlight, Sigma females dismantle the entire stage and leave people wondering how someone so quiet could leave such a loud impact. They are terrifying not because they're aggressive, but because they're unbothered, unpredictable, and absolutely unshakable. They walk away with no fanfare, they burn bridges without regret, and they erase you without ever needing revenge. They don't lead crowds, they awaken individuals. They're loyal, but only to truth, and they'll love you with depth until it requires them to betray themselves. Every move a Sigma female makes is deliberate, every silence is loaded, every exit is final, and that's what sets them apart, not their need to be followed, but their refusal to be owned. So the next time a woman walks in and doesn't try to dominate the room, you might want to pay attention. She's not there to lead it, she's there to outgrow it. If this video opened your eyes, challenged your thinking, or made you say, that's so me, then don't just click away. Click that subscribe button and join a tribe that doesn't follow the crowd. Because we lead ourselves. Like the video if it resonated. Drop a comment below. We want to hear your thoughts, your stories, your savage Sigma moments. And don't forget to share this with someone who needs to know the difference between noise and real power. We're building something different here, real, raw, and unapologetically deep. Subscribe now and never settle for average content again.